Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 4, Episode 17 of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. Now, I've moved ahead about 6 months or so, maybe, and I've actually been enjoying myself playing, but I've been doing a lot of experimentation with the tracks, trying to see if you can't just do the fancier tracks and just completely eliminate some of the stopping that happens because of the nature of the signals. And I'll get to that in just a minute. But let's start where we kind of left off, which was we were setting up the train line. We were just setting up the clothing, and we set up the train line, and Antiquity Car noticed that. I think I'd had it like this at first at the end of 15. But anyway, this has been changed, and this all works, and for fire protection. And what do I want to say? Well, when I was doing this line, the DRG, as I set up this line, which was going to share track here, the DRG is no longer available. I can't buy it. So I had DRGs, that's these fast train sets right here, running this line, but I couldn't buy them for this line, so I had to buy something less slower, which I got these little motor wagons, this DR Class VT 2.09, whatever that means. They're slower. Well, you don't want fast trains, slow trains running on a lot of shared track because it just takes all the advantage of the fast train away. And so, that being said, I ended up swapping out and running I sold all the DRGs that were running on this line, kept the ones up here because I really liked them and they're working beautifully, and just went to these smaller ones. It works just fine. We've got enough trains. In fact, I'm even doing it with just like 3 trains. I might add one more, I don't know. But it's working great, and we're getting workers to these at an appropriate rate given the small amount of housing we have to support it. So that all worked fine. Matt made a comment. Several of you noticed that I had at one point facing trains right here. Well, I know for a fact that this configuration works. I even said, I don't understand. Why doesn't it work? It should work. It does. But Matt's observation was this probably got messed up when I made a change out here, like maybe adding this track or setting a new signal or something. You unfortunately, the way the game works, and I think this is room for improvement, but if I'm in here right now and I'm thinking about this as planning mode, even if I'm dragging track in, like, if I drag track in here and do a merge like that or something, it could change the setting of the signals. And that being said, you can get these weird results where you get the problems. So I guess the moral of that story is if you're going to make a change anywhere on the line, you have to kind of follow the line back and make sure that you haven't messed something up anywhere else. Again, I think that's an improvement opportunity, but at any rate. By the way, just quickly too, the other thing I could have done, rather than share the track here, I could have kept my DRGs if I had just run a dedicated line. So this could be a dedicated line running out to the clothing, and then put in a second fueling station here so that these trains could get fueled. Either that or set up some sort of loop so that they could go over here and get fuel when they need it and come back to that would have worked. That would have been interesting. But at any rate, I stuck with this, got all these guys running, and they seem to be working just fine. So what else do I need to tell you? Okay. We set up the construction. Let's talk about that. Number one is, yes, as you can see, I don't even know how to say your name. 3-foot steam railway. It seems like 3FT steam RWY. So 3-foot steam said, make sure you do your paintbrush and get a lot of trees out there. Well, we have trees. Okay, we have the densest pine forest on the planet Earth around this, and you can see our construction has gone pretty well. and I'm pretty pleased with it. I have no clue if I got the right vehicles in here. If you guys have comments on that, share them. We'd all like to learn how to do this a little better. Secondly, I wanted to do this without micromanagement, and I did make a mistake. Some of you probably noticed it. I forgot to set the imports on these two, so for quite a while I was getting no asphalt or concrete, and the only redeeming grace there was, if you remember, I inadvertently built these roads on auto build. I didn't mean to. I wanted to pave them out of all this with this. Turns out auto building probably was a good thing because I didn't have any asphalt or concrete anyway. But be that as it may, I got that fixed. And the other thing was, I said I wanted to see how it would work if I didn't micromanage so much. And it actually, I had to resort to micromanagement because if you don't micromanage and you're building a big area like this, what happens is your workers will get spread out and your resources get spread out, but you don't really have, nothing really gets as a fit. You have workers showing up in places where there's no work can be done, kind of stuff. So I also wanted this fire station ready because I did not want to fire, particularly on this or this, because that means I have to redo the track and redo the roads and worst, in my mind, worst of all, redo the routes for the trains that you have set up. So I made sure I got that fire station done and put a flat in next to it. And then, of course, use that same idea of every time you get a new flat, you go out and get some more people into it. That increases the number of builders you have, and you just keep going. So it kind of accelerates and gets faster as you go along. So that was nice. And I did also turn off this. I turned off the wood cutting post for construction while I got the rest of it done because one, they're out there, a couple of them are out in places that aren't very convenient, and two, there was no point in having them until we have critical mass of people in here to support all of our, our hospital, fire station, all of our goods. You're not going to get efficiency out of these things anyway if you can't staff them. So I held off on those to build them last. You can see we got two of them already done. This one's well on its way with a bunch of workers up there. And this one over here hasn't started. It does, looks like it's got a road all the way up to it, so it's just a matter of, it's only got one construction office assigned to it. Why is that? Oh, and I'm kind of running a little experiment here. Eventually need a factory connection right here, and I want to see if they'll build it. I mean, they can't. I don't know how they're going to get to it, so I want to see what happens if you try to build a factory connection when there's no road right to it. And I don't know if they'll go through an existing building. I don't know how that's going to work, or even if it's going to work. And this one over here, I don't know why it isn't queued up unless I've stopped it. No, it's not stopped. It's in one office's purview, and I don't know why. I've got auto search on, so I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's close enough. I'm not sure why it's not finding it. Wood cutting, this is the one that does have it. Now, why isn't he finding it? Oh, it's got it too. Well, that's weird. Maybe I just need to run it for a second. All right, you got me here. This Board's wood cutting post. Okay, it's Board's wood cutting post. Oh. So that one's doing 2, which is probably that one. Yep. So why aren't they picking up the other one? Close enough? Yeah, it's easily in range. Is there a break in the road somewhere? I don't see one. I should be able to get out there to it. All right, I'm a little lost there, but I don't want to spend all day trying to figure out some little minute detail. I've got a lot of big things to cover. Let's look at this. I did show you this. I want to show you that it's working. Look at this. Look at our alcohol, food, and clothes. We've got them maxed out. Now, why is that? Because we have trains running. Here's the food and alcohol. It now has a line that says, go to your original starting point where the factories are, load up with food and alcohol. Then it comes here, tops this one off. Then it goes down to Molka, which is our steel mill town, and tops it off. Then it goes to the custom house and exports anything that's left over. And once you get this done, do this run once or twice, you get a lot left over because these cities don't consume it that fast. And you keep them full, so we keep a good supply for all of our cities, and we also export a lot as well. And it's the same thing with the clothes. I have the clothes does the exact same thing. Load up clothes at your clothing factory, go to boards, go to Mocha, go to Molna, and export. So that's working great, and that's the same process we'll follow with meat. Now, I do have meat already planned once this gets built. Got meat storage here, and we'll end up with a little truck, as I said earlier, that'll grab the meat out of the storage and take it over here to the shopping center. So that'll take care of that town. And this town down here, got to figure out a way to hook meat storage into this guy right here. And we've got connections, so I think all we have to do is put in a meat storage, just reroute route the roads around it a little bit. That'll be easy. No problem. I thought it was a bigger deal than it was. No problem. We'll put a meat storage here. Once we have the meat industry going, we'll put a meat storage here, connect it up to this warehouse. Our meat train will come down here, top off the meat, and run back up and do its export thing, just like the food and the clothing. So that should all work great. Remember, one of our goals is to be able to turn off all the import of food, clothes, electronics, and meat in these shopping centers and still maintain our happiness of our citizens, which would mean that we're supplying them with the stuff we need from our own republic. What else? Oh, Damageo mentioned a kind of a clever idea. He said, take this farm and put all 10, we're running 5 trucks in each farm, put all 10 of them in this farm, and then just have like a Matador and a tractor or whatever as your other 2 vehicles in this farm, and then put all the 5 spots you have here, put your other Matadors and tractors in this one, so that all that's down here, and then all your deliveries for crops would go to this site and be readily available for our train. Now, the 2 things I wonder about if I take that tactic is, if all my slow-moving tractors are down here, what's it going to take to get up here to plant stuff? That concerns me a little bit. Same thing with the harvesting. And also the trucks, if you're asking them to run from here way down here, is that not slowing things down? So that I'd be interested in seeing what's going to happen with that. Notice all those buses there for later when we set up these lines up here. I thought I was ready to do it, and I'm not. And the other thing is, since I've already set this up and it's already working, we've got like these 4 little trucks running up here. It works just fine. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But let me know your thoughts about, do you think that would be more efficient or less efficient with the stuff moving, the tractors moving from down here all the way up here kind of stuff. All right, so what else? Oh, okay, so to catch you up, the other thing is, definitely want to build this area up because I want more people going to the steel mill. Definitely want to get the coal business, and I don't remember if I covered this or not. I did set up the iron ore I've got the iron ore going here. I think I've covered this, but at any rate, this is working great. We're producing way more iron than we need, and I want to bump up the steel mill. I want more workers in that steel mill so we can export the steel and also use it for construction. And by the way, even up here at boards, now if we go up here and look at the related vehicles for this cargo station, we can see the steel train. Now it loads up steel, then it goes up here and tops off, so you can see we got plenty of steel in here. It's already done it before, and then everything that's left it'll export and go back on its way. So that way up here we saved a lot of money, because we saved for our construction management. We not only saved on the labor by having labor that we provided ourselves, but we saved on the steel, which is your big ticket item. Those are the two big ticket items, steel and labor. So we saved a lot of money by building this farm that way, or this town that way, and having steel brought in here. Now at the end of the day, when we're done with all this and we say, we're not going to build anymore, I'll just set up a truck to go here and empty this guy out and export everything, or move it to another location, another construction site somewhere else if we're building a different area and we want to do construction management again. All right, so the farm's working great. This is on its way. We'll see how effective it is as far as the board's production. We want to build this up and get more steel mills, more steel produced. We want to build this up because we've got plenty of oil, and we want to use it faster because we've got lots of oil now. Because we're not getting as many people here, because they got siphoned off to go elsewhere, and because a lot of people going to school, then we want to build this up. And a quick comment on the school, I am almost of a mind that I think you'd be better off with a university that was out, kind of out by itself somewhere, out here, somewhere off to its lonesome, and that you actually set up the residence halls and said, okay, I need some more grads in this area. Move them over there, let them go to school in a small little university town, and then have them go back where they came from. Because I think that's what happens. You guys confirm that, but I think what happens if I go down here to this medical university, to this residence hall, I put people in there. When they graduate, they're going to leave and go back where they came from. So we could, and that's the intent, that's what I intend to do with these people. I'm not going to put a university near them. I'm just going to grab some of them and put them down there in that residence hall and have them migrate back here to be university grads and work as school teachers and doctors and whatever we need here for university grads. All right, so, but again, I think it might be better to just have the university detached in its own little town so that you don't have everybody going to school. Now, the reason I say that is we don't need university grads for everybody, and it does us zero good. Look at our refinery. Everybody's a university graduate. Now that's great if you want a society of educated people, but it's not buying us anything. We don't get efficiency boosts because they have a higher degree. We don't gain anything except we know they're qualified to work and they can go work. We have a lot of flexibility, but there's no need to educate everybody to the university level. It just doesn't need to happen. So let me know your thoughts on that. And what else can I say? Let me see. What other comments do I want to talk about? Carlos wanted me to share the spreadsheet. I've done that before. I will put a link in the description for this. Now, I do want to say on the spreadsheet, let me cover this again. All you need to do to use this, I'll send you this link. It'll be in the description. Click on it and then do File, Make a Copy, and that will create your own copy of this, and you can do with it as you will. One word of warning, you will need to. These prices are set for whatever I need at this particular moment in time. So you'll need to go in and update your import and export costs to have this work more effectively for you and to give you more accurate projections. And, and it's not idiot-proofed. Please don't be offended by that phrase, but that just means I haven't gone in and put a bunch of protection in here to keep people from updating fields they shouldn't be updating. So if you totally hose it up, don't worry about it. Just go out, get the link, and make another copy and start over. Let's go back to the game. And is there anything else I want to share with you? What I think I want to do to get more people into the refinery is start another town. I'm going to start a whole town over here because we're starting to stretch how far out the ambulance needs to go. I don't want to burden it. We'll add maybe even add another fire station. We may not need the fire station. We'll see. But I do want to build a town kind of in here-ish. Kind of move these wires out of the way. Build a town in here with the intent that that town would send people to the refinery, and that it would send people in this direction. So I'm seeing over in here somewhere is going to be our slaughterhouse and our livestock farms, and then over a little further, nice big flat area, a crop farm to support the livestock. So we'll start with the meat and the livestock, because remember, with the meat industry, you do not want to import livestock. That's a death blow to your republic. But we'll set up meat and some livestock here, and then eventually set up a farm out here to give them crops. And yes, I know I'm doing that backwards. Many of you would say, "We'll build the farm first and get that going." And yeah, we could do that, but we're going to go this way first, and then we'll import livestock into. No, will we? No, we will not. We'll import crops into the livestock farms or ranches, and then create the livestock to go to the meat, and then we'll eventually try to replace as much of that crop import as we can with crops coming from out here. All right, that's enough, isn't it? Yeah, that's more than enough. All right, so there is one more thing. Let's talk about the trains and all the experimentation I did. I was looking to see if there were ways to improve the throughput, and I really looked at the official signal guide and all that, and look for ways to do things like put more signals in here. Signal here, chain signal, chain signal, chain signal, single direction exit, all that stuff. See if you can improve the throughput. Well, what I did in the experiment was end up creating gridlock, because what happens with all these fancy ones where you're putting bunches of signals is you can run one train through, it works. You run two, it works. If they happen to come in the right direction at the right time, they work. But if you get a third train or a fourth train, or the timing is just so that a train happens to be here when one wants to go there, you end up with gridlock. Well, I can tell you that it's much more important. This is the simple advice I would give you. Avoid gridlock. Don't worry so much about throughput and efficiency in this game, because first of all, the nature of the game, your trains tend to wait. So, for example, out here at this farm, see this guy, he's waiting. He's loading up. He's got a while before he's going to run again. So, did it matter that he made it here in, let's say, 2 days to make his full run, or 3 days? No, it doesn't matter, because he got there in time. As long as he gets there in time, that there's not a big buildup of crops in the silo and the warehouse and the farm, so that there's no place to put crops, as long as he gets back in time, we're good. He's absolutely golden, and it's fast enough, so to speak. So this is the case where fast enough is fast enough. Same thing with these clothing and food and alcohol lines and the steel and everything else. If they have to wait once in a while because your junction isn't beautiful, but they never get in gridlock, then you've probably done the right thing. And if you do have a situation where you really do need to throughput, where you're producing so much stuff that you have to move these trains super fast, then that's when you would spend the time and figure out what you need to do, like these left-hand turn lanes and all that stuff. So like this stuff here, this is really cool. It works really great. Did it really matter? Nah, not really. I could have just run 2 lines down through here, had simple merges into those, and it would have worked just fine. And once in a while, once in a blue moon, a train might get stopped going this way unnecessarily, but So what? So what? It's much more important to avoid gridlock. So here's what I would suggest you do. Whether you use a turnaround like this, a turnabout or a roundabout, or you go down here and you do something like this, a T junction, let me give you some really simple rules to follow that keep yourself sane. Number one is, if you use a roundabout, treat the entire roundabout as a single block. So this one here, all this area out here, all the way around the roundabout over to here, it's just one block. Only one train can be in there. If you don't do that, believe me, I've tried. If you try to put in a bunch of signals and think, oh, well, they can go this way and then they'll come out that way and blah, 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 what will happen is that eventually you'll have a train in here coming down here, staring into two trains over here. They can't leave. He can't come in. A train's down here wanting to go over here. He can't go there. Now I got 4 trains that cannot move, and my entire oil fuel distribution network is toast just because I wanted to move a train through here a little bit faster. So keep it simple. Keep these complex junctions to a single block, and accept the fact that once in a while a train's going to stop for a minute while another train goes through. That is no big deal in this game, because this game is not about running 800 trains. This is not Railway Empire where you need to run 300 trains in order to be successful. The other rule I would suggest you follow is, if you build a T intersection like this, then make sure that you follow our 6-ton rule. And just make sure that the distance between here and here is a full 6 tons from here to here, is at least 6 tons of steel, using this one right here as the basis. And make sure that all 3 of the legs are that long, so that a train could come in here and sit right there without stopping this side and without stopping that. And that would, if you do that and kind of spread them out a little bit like that, it works real well. And then the other thing I would say is, why would you use this one versus a roundabout? This could very easily be a roundabout. It would work just fine to be a roundabout. And here's the advantage. This is why you would use a roundabout. Say you wanted to run a train from here, this area over here, for whatever reason, over here or over to your steel mill. Well, and you didn't want to try to, go through all this stuff. You didn't want to drive through the town or make big bridges or whatever. So the roundabout's great, because the roundabout can go up here, do a little circle, come back on itself a little bit, and then go down here. And of course, we've got the roundabout down here, could circle back up, go up here and circle back. So the roundabout makes it easier for the pathing to find a way to get somewhere. And it will recognize it as part of the path. Whereas it would not recognize, if I needed to go, that similar thing and up in here, this kind of a deal, it would not recognize, if you just keep going to that station and turn around the station, it'll work. That will not do that. So a roundabout's very useful for looping stuff back and changing directions. This is absolutely just as good. See, in this case, this is the same versatility. A train coming this way can go this way or that way. Here can go this way or that way. Here can go this way or that way. It's the same versatility. It's just as easy to set up, but it doesn't have that loop, so it wouldn't recognize the ability to turn around like we have down here. So that's kind of the trade-off between them. So use them both, but keep them simple, keep them blocked, keep your train moving, and above all, your main thing with track design is avoid gridlock. If you don't have gridlock, you've probably got a pretty good train system. All right, that's enough for now. That's enough for this one. So hope you'll join us for the next one, when we get probably into meat and more refinery people and coal. I keep saying I'm going to do coal, and I just got to get around to doing it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.